Alexandria Agresta. And, I really believe in creating a world where people find meaning in their work and they're fulfilled. So, in outgrowth of that belief, I co founded a company called Purpose Pioneers, where we help forward thinking leaders infuse purpose into how they do business to become a purpose driven organization.
That is a mouthful, just like that. We're going to dissect that.
Okay.
Because is that your mission statement?
That's my belief statement.
Okay.
And then that is my purpose statement,
Okay,
which are
cool.
actually two separate things that
Okay.
I like to use together.
Purpose statement. I'm writing this down. Purpose statement and mission statement.
It's purpose statement and I believe statement.
Oh, I believe. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. Now, first, before we head into that, I'm going to say good morning or good afternoon.
Good morning. It's 9:43 a.m. where I'm at.
9:43. All right. Okay. Now, we'd like to know a little bit more about yourself before we get into the business of what you do and why you're actually on this podcast. So tell us a little bit about who you are, where you are right now, and what would you consider as what I would call your cultural frame of reference.
Cultural frame of reference. What do you mean? Like what I focus on in culture?
What you focus on in culture, what your experience is in terms of business or working with different cultures, in terms of international or different companies. Also where you are, and tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Okay, awesome. Great question. So, like I said, my name's Alexandria Agresta. You can call me Alex.
All right.
I originally was born in South Jersey, up on the East Coast of the United States. Went to college in Orlando, Florida. So I've been an East Coast girl my whole life. I think early on, like really what makes Alex up, what's my DNA? It's I've always been bold and driven and passionate. So I dove right into entrepreneurship when I was 20 years old. I said, screw doing things the traditional way. I want to build my own ladder and I want to build my own dream. So I was really fortunate to have support from everyone in my life at that time. And I still have that support.
That's nice.
And then, so I founded two companies since I was in college, and my current one is Purpose Pioneers. And then I decided to move out west. I'm ready to explore the rest of the United States. So I am in Denver, Colorado right now. And just some fun things about me. I love going to music festivals. I love getting that dose of community and great music. And I'm vegan.
All
so
right.
I'm all about the plant life.
All right. Okay. Hashtag vegan is in there as well. No, not at all. All right. So you said when you were 20, you said, I'm going to climb my own ladder. I mean, what made you do that? What made you're in Denver, Colorado. You mentioned that. So what made you do that in terms of, I mean, you look at the world. I'm looking outside the window here and I'm looking at the world and I wonder, like, how do you do that? How do you decide, no, I'm not going to play this game. I'm going to play my own game.
That's a great question. So I think it's comprised of two things. I was born into a family of entrepreneurs.
Okay,
so I think from a young age, it's really just what I saw. They were always creating. They were independent. They were doing new and exciting things. So that was just ingrained in me. But I did go off to college, which is, sort of the traditional thing, because I was like, I guess I'm going to do this. I guess that's what everybody else is doing. But I moved 1,000 miles away from my home and my family.
Yeah.
And it was the opportunity of a lifetime for me to come into my own and I've always been independent, but gain more independence and really get clarity around what I wanted to do. And the second piece, I had a few jobs that I really hated. I had a administrative assistant job. I was serving. I was a party planner. I had odds and ends jobs, and I think it was there that I realized, like, I have so much to give and so much value to give to this world. I want to create my own. And they just, once again, they didn't create the culture that allowed me to grow and be fulfilled. And I realized that super, super early in life. And here I am, just creating and being the change that I want to see in the world.
So as a younger person, you started moving west. Now you ended up so far you're in Denver, Colorado. Have you ever had a feeling like, what am I doing here? Why did I just not follow the mainstream, the main thing? No,
Never.
I,
I look at it opposite. I look at people following mainstream and I'm like, what are you doing?
yeah,
Do what you want to. I'm a big, part of what I speak about is preaching, especially to my generation, millennials, do what you want. Life is too short to get caught up in the mainstream. Go against the stream.
mm,
Do what makes you fulfilled and happy. So every move in my life has been intentional and I've always been an explorer. So when I'm looking back and putting together all the pieces of my puzzle, I'm like, man, this is furthering my purpose and my dream. So I'm
that's
pretty
cool.
damn
That's
happy.
that. I'm trying to. I'm trying to relate to that because I'm a couple of years older than you are. I've got kids. My oldest son is 25. I have one
Okay.
son. He is also my oldest son. He's 25. And when I look at you and when I look at him, it's I look at him and he did some sort of aviation related course. It wasn't at a particular level. Now he's going to soon this year, and we're talking 2018, April 2018 when we're recording this. Soon he's going to graduate. And graduate archaeology, a bachelor in archaeology. I said, "What do you want to do with this?" He said, "I don't know. I'll probably go back to aviation." How do you this we're talking about the generational cultures as well. There are different layers and levels of culture. What do you say to people your age, millennials, my kids, if they don't know what they want? How do you do that? How do you know what you want? How do you instill that into other people, younger, your millennial generation?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I speak at a lot of colleges,
Hmm.
college conferences, and my old alma mater, UCF.
Yeah.
And I think it starts with one, it starts with the fear. I think something that I learned from one of my mentors all about self-awareness, and I had to really understand what was holding me back.
Yeah.
So I think it's the self-awareness around what decisions I'm making, why am I doing this, what's going on, and what stems from that is the empowerment piece. So millennials, like my generation, they're awesome. They're not reaching their highest potential because they don't have the empowerment piece, which is the action, the support, the encouragement, the guidance, the mental models to be able to bring this to life.
In general,
And the
they don't
way,
have that. That's what you're saying.
yeah, well, they don't. I'm saying they don't know where to go find it, or they don't have
Right.
access to it.
Right.
So, they're fear based, so they're holding themselves back from going and finding it. So, something that stuck me out from the crowd of my peers is I always went and got what I wanted. My dad taught me that. He said, "Whatever you want, go out and get it." I was like, "All right." So I realized where I was lacking in my skills
Hmm.
or my emotional intelligence, whatever it is.
Hmm.
And I went out and I found it. I joined like-minded communities. I started surrounding myself in more, older groups so I can gain that wisdom from people who are twice my age. Like
Right.
I love hanging out with baby boomers. Like some of my greatest friends are 65 and up. Like
Uh-huh.
who hears a millennial saying that, right? Like I don't see the gaps and the generation gaps, all that. I choose not to see that because at the core we can learn so much from each other. And I think that's a key thing missing for millennials. They're just so in their bubble
Yeah.
and they don't realize that, like the world has so much to give. And especially older generations have so much to give. They want to give. They're ready. They're like, I want to be a mentor. I want to help you. I want to guide you. I want to give you all the tools that you need. So it's just going out there and getting it.
So
That's the advice I would give to your son.
okay, I have a daughter as well, and a younger daughter who is currently going
Perfect.
through all the episode of Friends, like I told you prior to
Yes.
prior to this recording. So you were surrounded, at least you were not pushed, but motivated to do, or stimulated to do. If you want something, go out and get it. It's
Yeah.
right there. It's right there for you. Have people at this stage in your career and in your life ever asked you, Alex, what do you want to be when you grow up? When are you going to get serious? Do people, which for me they're trying to hold you back. They're trying to like stop you, like grow up, be normal or not.
I've never experienced that ever.
No.
I've always been the free spirit and the traveler in my friend group and my family, and they're excited to see what I'm about to build next. So I've
Okay.
never, and I'm fortunate for that. Some people, experience that backlash from their family and friends. Like, why don't you just do what everybody else is doing?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I'm so lucky. Like I always talk about how lucky I am that I never experienced that. And I, my friends and family love what I'm doing and they support it and they talk about
Right,
it.
that's
And
good.
from the evolution of from one company to the next, they're still supporting it. They just go to the next one. So yeah, I've been my support and encouragement from my immediate family and friends has definitely been an integral piece to how I think and that belief in myself.
Right. Okay. Are you then? Because I want to get back to that what you just said
Yeah,
about the environment, the parents and environment who are so much conducive to the outcome of their kids. I guess. Are you then because you say these kids, your generational millennials live so much in their bubble. Does that mean
totally.
you're less on Instagram, you're less on WhatsApp, you're less on all this social media? I was going to say crap, but we're we're a clean show. I didn't say that.
So good question. It's not that I'm less on I'm not less in the bubble.
Yeah.
I just realize there's more beyond the bubble.
Right.
So when I am on social media and when I am doing things that other millennials are doing, it's with intention. So what I'm noticing is, people who are my age, they're just mindlessly scrolling and I'm just doing this because this is the thing to do.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm on the other side saying I'm on Instagram getting potential clients. I'm
Right.
doing Facebook Live videos to spread my message and put my truth out there. So the difference is intention and direction.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd say.
That makes good sense for me as well. And do you ever read a book? This which it's a stack of faxes. It's paper stuff.
I read books.
You read books as well. Okay, that's good.
Yeah. I actually used to read a lot when I was younger.
Uh-huh.
I definitely took a step back, but now that I am an entrepreneur, I have 40 books on my windowsill that I'm actually going to start my own book club with my friends, so we can talk about the concepts that we've learned. Yeah.
Are we talking books or ebooks?
I like real books.
Real books.
I like the tangible feel of a book. I don't like audiobooks.
Are you an old soul, as they say, Alex?
I think I am.
I mean, in a very positive sense, right? I mean, that doesn't make you an old person or an old mind.
No, I get what you're saying. It's funny. I had a meeting with a really incredible woman about 2 weeks ago,
Uh-huh.
and she looked at me. She's really big in energy and spirituality. She looked at me and she's like, "You're really old." And what I mean is by your soul.
Yeah.
She's like, "You're a couple hundred years old." I was like, "Thank you. That's a great compliment."
That's how I meant it. At least that's how I
Of
meant
course.
it.
I totally took it that way. I'm
Okay,
big on
cool.
energy and souls, so I love talking about that stuff. It's
All
great.
right, excellent. Before we move
Yeah.
on to Purpose and Pioneers, or Purpose Pioneers, one of the
Yeah.
companies that you're currently running with your associate as well, I want to get one more bit of advice or your insight or your opinion at least. You had your environment, your parents, the environment that you grew up in was very conducive into how you are at this moment in your life and career, how you look at the world, how you think about yourself, the inner awareness, etc., etc. What if you're not in that environment? What if both your parents, both your parents smoke? One has a drinking problem. The mom is just cleaning houses. How do you get out of that?
I know. I think about this a lot because I want what I had, growing up for people that don't have it. So I've been thinking a lot about this and I haven't quite pinpointed, what I really think is the best way to get out of it. We hear so many stories of people in the slums and they're poor and
Yeah.
they've risen above.
Sure.
So I think it's they have to instill their own belief in themselves. It's like the coin. It goes one way or the other. They're either like, this is my reality and that's it.
Yeah.
Or some people are just like, no, I can get out of this. And I don't know where they got that belief from.
Yeah.
Maybe a book, maybe something they saw. It only takes one smile or one engagement that can change someone's life. So my best guess is those people, they had that one interaction that they chose to look at it for what it was worth and get out of their situation.
And it changes your belief system, and hence you're talking
totally.
towards what Tony Robbins has been talking about for the last 100 years in terms of the situation is the situation. What do you pull out of that? Do you pull out of that misery? I'm going to be the same, or do you actually look at a situation like that and say, well, this never for me? So,
exactly.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah,
go ahead.
really quick. I heard a really good example. You brought up what if one of my parents was an alcoholic? And I saw this really great article and it was, or some sort of visual online. And it was, a guy was born with an alcoholic father and there were two, there were brothers. One brother was like, oh, my dad's an alcoholic, so I'm going to be an alcoholic and I'm going to be horrible to my kids. And then the other brother said, no, I don't want this for my kids. And he went on to be a great dad and raise a great family. So that's just the power of choice. Humans have the power of choice and they don't have to be the victim of their own environment, which I think is a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we could talk about this forever and ever, I guess.
Oh, I know, I know. I just
Be-
wanted last nugget.
yeah, it's true. I mean, you can talk the story about the frog. The two frogs that jump into this in what is it? This cream or something, the milk or cream, and one says, "Okay, I'm going to drown anyways." So he doesn't do
Yeah.
anything, and the other one starts swimming and paddling and paddling and paddling, and it turns into butter. The cream turns into butter, and he climbs out. It's
There you go.
stories,
Choice.
plenty of stories.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on if you're okay with that. Purpose pioneers.
Absolutely.
When
Yes.
did that? How did that see the light of day, and what does it stand for? Tell us a little bit more about that, please.
Yeah, so I'd love to just quickly tell you the backstory. I think Purpose Pioneers is an outgrowth of myself and my business partner's journeys. We both had individual companies,
Mm-hmm.
and but our individual companies, they were built on such really deep beliefs of how do we connect people in a meaningful way? How do we create fulfillment? How do we be the change we want to see? So we always say, like my business partner and I, we always say our previous companies where it led us to Purpose Pioneers.
Mm-hmm.
We took everything that we learned and we took those purposes and we infused them together and we created Purpose Pioneers.
Okay.
And how that came to be was we always were just having these really incredibly deep conversations around how can we be fulfilled by our work and how can we find meaning?
Yeah.
Because we both had jobs that were just so bad and the culture,
Mm-hmm.
speaking of culture, was so
Yeah.
poor.
Yes.
All they cared about was profit. And humans don't just want to be dollar signs. They don't just want to sit there and make money like machines. We're not
Uh-huh.
machines. We're human beings with hearts and souls and brains. So we experienced that really low. And with this entrepreneurial background and belief that capitalism can be used as a force for good,
Mm-hmm.
we joined forces and we said we want to create a world where people find meaning in their work and they are freaking fulfilled.
Mm.
So that is our core belief and that is who we are. And what we do, we help forward-thinking organizations uncover and infuse their purpose into how they do business.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Go
yeah.
on. No,
I was
because
just-
that is a question that I did write down. I did write down you because you do mention that in one of your bios that I found online. Yeah, you talk about forward-thinking organizations.
Yeah.
What is that? You have a backward-thinking organization as well. Can you give us examples? I mean, if it's forward, it must be backward as well.
So-
so give us a couple of examples, or maybe without mentioning names. That's up to you, really. Or maybe experiences or stories with either side.
Yeah, I
Examples.
love it. And that gives a great opportunity to define what forward thinking means to
Yes.
us. So, you work in culture for many years, and I'm sure you've experienced leaders that are resistant to change.
Absolutely.
So, how we define forward thinking is open to change, open to growth, willing to embrace new perspectives, willing to be the person that they want to become to really take their company where they want it to go. So forward thinking encompasses all those things. We do not work with leaders that are resistant to change. We, the ones that are like, oh, yeah, we'll focus on that later, or that's not important, because we know we can add so much value to the ones who are ready and willing and say, yes, I want to do this. I see the value in this. Let's do it. So that's probably the larger definition of what forward thinking means to us.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
and then so everything, a company that's not open for growth. Which company is not open for growth? And yeah,
I would say I don't want to say companies are not open for growth, but specifically in the organizational development, leadership development, ready to invest in their people. I'll give some examples. Really big financial firms, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, really big law firms.
yeah,
They're probably notoriously known for not really emphasizing on their people first. They're more profit focused.
yeah. Billable hours.
Yeah, exactly. So those are companies or industries that I would say are not forward thinking in terms of my definition.
Okay.
And those are the companies that need this stuff the most. But once again, we only want to work with leaders that are ready and willing to embrace growth and change for their own betterment.
Let me be devil's advocate here, because I'm sure you're going to blow me away with your enthusiasm on this on this topic. So open for growth. I'm open for growth. And then you ask me, Alexandria, are you resistant to change? And then I say, of course I'm not resistant. I'm so flexible. I'm as flexible as anyone, and I love my people. Are you going to believe my blue eyes? I mean,
Well,
isn't
it depends
a lot of window dressing as well, or lip service?
No. I'd say I can see right through a leader if they're lying. And I don't think this is what we provide. It's not really something to lie about. You either see it and you're like, yep, I want that. Or it's kind of like, no, I'm not ready for that, or that's a meh, not really my thing.
And people say
Um,
that to you.
what? That's not my thing,
Yeah.
or I'm ready. Um,
Isn't it social desirable to just actually say, I'm not resistant to change. I'm as flexible as anything.
I don't think so. In the workshops we've had,
Okay,
people are
well,
very vulnerable and open, and a lot of people said, I don't like change. I don't like change at all.
they don't like,
So
but they're willing to consider it for a better
willing to
option. Or
consider it, yeah. I just to answer your question better, I think, we've really built out a strong archetype, and we can spot the leaders that are going to be open to this on a
mm-hmm,
grander scale
mm-hmm,
like this. It's become it's easy. We're still learning and growing.
yeah,
Um, but I'll give you an example. So
yeah,
we did my business partner did a workshop for leaders that were 55 between 55 50 and 60,
okay,
and they need help with millennial engagement. They don't know what to do with the millennials because there's a gap in how they communicate. They don't know what the heck's going on.
mm-hmm,
So this person said, hey, this person of the organization said, hey, Purpose Pioneers, you know how to do this. Come in, blow their minds. We know you can give them value. They need a solution. So we went in. About 95% of them were like, whatever, this doesn't matter. What's my mission statement? I don't know. We made that years ago.
those are
We
the
just want
50,
to be,
50, 60
and,
year old guys.
and those are the people that are not ready to embrace change. They're
Okay.
just like, man, we're just going to keep doing things just the good old way that we've been doing them.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I mean. Now, the other leaders we work with, they come up to us, they're compelled by this message, and they're like, I want this. I get it. They get it in some way, shape, or form. They get the importance of it, but they don't have the tools to bring it to life.
Right.
So it's very distinct. Like, and I can spot it like that.
And that's, you can spot it like that, but is that are those your blue eyes being able to spot that, or do you have like a questionnaire for that?
That's a good question. We don't have a questionnaire built out. It's just through conversation. I kind of have it built
Right.
in my head, but that could actually be a really good tool to have that kind of vetting system built out.
It makes it
For
more
sure.
objective, I guess.
Totally. Yeah.
But the perception that it could be more objective, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a great. I'm gonna think about that more
Okay,
and,
sure.
and get all my thoughts out. Thank
Take
you.
that along.
Thank you.
Of course, no, you're welcome. You also write about your a purpose first framework. Purpose without purpose and meaning. I very much agree with that. In life in general, if people don't have purpose and meaning, we wither away. We become like this. What is it? 1960 monkey. That's been taken away from its mom and being put to a doll that doesn't do anything. So that does.
Yep.
We need purpose and meaning in life, on any
Yeah.
kind of level. So what does your purpose first framework look like?
So the Purpose First framework, first I want to point out a problem that we've seen in the purpose industry. So, consultants and coaches that come in and they teach mission, vision, values, and it's really great. They do an awesome job,
Yeah.
and the company's amped up and they're excited and inspired. But what usually happens? It fizzles away
Yes.
within a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So that is a huge piece of the problem that we solve. There is a lack of system, a lack of a process around purpose. So the biggest piece of the Purpose First framework is systematizing purpose. How do leaders have said, I love this, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
They usually love Simon Sinek. Do you know Simon Sinek?
Yes. Yeah. He starts from the circle,
Yeah.
from the
Yeah,
core.
circle.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, most of those people who love him are like, I love this, but what do I do with it? How do I infuse it into how we do business?
Mm-hmm.
So that is our biggest edge, is systematizing purpose. But it comes down to 3 pieces in the framework,
Mm-hmm.
and it all starts with how we communicate. So I am involved with an organizational psychology group that has a really profound framework. It's essentially NLP, neuro-linguistic programming,
Mm-hmm.
teaching us how to reprogram and rewire our brain to understand our defenses, our triggers, and create space for open conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we tie that into the workplace? So we first, before we even get into purpose, we lay the foundation to be able to have a common language in between a company.
Mm-hmm.
I look at some companies that there's thousands of employees, and I'm like, holy crap, do you know how many languages are being thrown around right now? There's probably so many miscommunications and lack of productivity because they're just not speaking the same language.
Mm-hmm.
So we lay the framework to be able to speak the same language and create space for conversation, because purpose changes things. A lot of things come up, and we're revamping things and making things more intentional and better and more meaningful. So that's the big piece. And then we go into diving into values and purpose, and then systematizing it.
Isn't it? To what extent is it just lack of commitment, really? If people want to change and they say, yeah, I want to change, and then you say, okay, you're here, we can make it into that. Oh, that sounds great. That's what I'm saying to you. It sounds great. And then it's like, yeah. I mean, everybody wants to die. No, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Everybody wants to lose weight. Nobody wants to go to the gym or leave that their bowl of whatever. Isn't it just plainly lack of commitment from management?
I wouldn't say so. I'm sure that's a part of it, definitely. Yeah. But I think it's the lack of empowerment. And how I define empowerment is the action piece, the tools, the frameworks. So there are definitely frameworks around purpose within the workplace, but not that many. So a lot of leaders, like I said, they love it, they get it, but they hit that wall, which can be perceived as lack of commitment. It's because they don't know how. I mean, I think about so many times where I'm like, yes, I want this. And then it fizzles away because I'm like, well, I didn't know how to do it. Like, I lack that empowerment. So that's why we give the systems and processes around purpose to bring it to life. And leaders, and then we see the light bulb. It's awesome. It just clicks. And they're like, oh my God, I get it. I can align this with every single aspect of my business.
And is that a step program that you follow?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that, or is that corporate secret?
No, we can elaborate. No, we're really open and transparent.
Yeah.
So we have two branches of our company. We have our in-person trainings with medium-sized companies, is where we're hanging out right now.
Yeah.
And those are a variety of pain points that we can come in and we can solve. So we focus on, for the trainings, we do millennial engagement. We do training and development, or not training and development, onboarding, the entire hiring experience.
Right, yeah.
And then we do sales, which is actually a really interesting one. When we hear sales are down, we see it as an opportunity that purpose could help that. Right. How to infuse purpose into how you're communicating in your sales, how you're uniting the sales team, things like that.
Right.
So those are some of the things we do on the training side.
Yeah.
And then the other exciting part is our online program.
Okay.
So we have a 3-month program. It's called Scale Your Purpose. And what that is it goes very, very deep into our framework, step by step, how to unlock all of those 3 things I just talked about, communicating, values and purpose, systematizing. And that is for small business leaders. So we found that we have to start infusing purpose into the company as early as we possibly can, because then we can scale and grow with our products and services, but we can scale our culture as well. They're growing together. Okay. Because so many times leaders grow the company and then culture goes to crap, which I'm sure you've seen so many times.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, it becomes from an adhocracy to a more technocracy, as Mintzberg describes it. And then it becomes hard to manage. How big? You say small organization. How big is small, or how small is big?
So there's 2 pieces to small. The first small is for anywhere between 5 and 25 employees.
Okay.
And anywhere between 500,000 and 2 million in revenue. So that's the first piece of small.
Yeah.
And they are ready. They're in ramp up stage. And what I mean by that is, they have the systems and processes to grow and scale their products and services, but something's holding them back because the leader doesn't know how to keep that vision and that passion alive as they're growing. So that's the first piece, and that's what our Scale Your Purpose program, that pain point that it solves. And then we go into the second tier of small business, which is anywhere from 25 to 200 employees, and upwards of 50 million in revenue. They're still small enough that we can create change, impactful change, and work with the leader, but they're big enough to have that larger impact and keep growing and scaling.
Okay, so if I love to be devil's advocate on this podcast. I don't know why.
Please.
No, it's just what are the biggest the 3 or the biggest 1 or 3 or number X number of resistance feelings you get from companies, or from people rather in companies?
What's the biggest resistance or fear?
Yeah.
In regards to what? That's a big question.
will this work? Will my investment pay off? Do you guys know what you're talking about? What if I fail? This. Yeah.
So I'd say some of the fears. Yeah, so some of the fears that we work with leaders that have become apparent is, one, they look at other people and other companies for who they need to be, and that's the biggest thing that holds them back. and what we have to coach them through, people can't pick your purpose, and you can't be copying other companies, or you're going to ultimately fail. So that's the biggest fear, is, looking for others for who they need to be. I would say the biggest fear is, how do I scale me as the leader? I built this baby. This is my baby. How do I trust people with my decisions? So when a leader is holding themselves back in that regard, they're holding back their company from growing and creating that impact. We have not encountered yet. Do you guys know what you're talking about? Or what if this investment doesn't pay off? We are really big in giving value first. So we have a lot of touch points, and we have a lot of experiences to show them the transformation that this has done for other people. We use our community as a way to say, hey, I mean, if you're not ready and you don't want to do it, that's fine. We're not here to convince you, but this is what it's done, and this is what it can do for you. Right. So we leverage the other transformations that we were a part of with our framework to show others and kind of have that ripple effect.
I think you're a heck of a salesperson.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Did you just really quickly say that leaders or managers or leaders of a company or entrepreneurs, starters of a company should not look at other people like, I want to be like you? I want to be like that person?
I highly recommend not doing that, because what happens is they get so focused on what the other person is doing that they're forgetting what makes them unique and special as a leader and as a company. Right. There's a difference. I admire and I look up to people and I look up to companies, but I never say I want to be them, because I'm never going to be them. I'm only going to be Alex, and I'm only going to be the things that I create.
And the best version of you. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. And I can't reinforce that enough with leaders. Stop looking at what other people are doing. Focus on you. We can admire and we can learn, but you will physically never be anybody else.
Evidently, very much. So okay.
It's about drawing that line in between admiration and copying, essentially.
Okay. Now, since you're such a great salesperson, give me the biggest advantage if you're an organization, if you're a company and you have an organizational culture, and I'm not saying you necessarily need to be stuck, but if you want to look at what the purpose of your company, of the people in the organization is, what is the biggest advantage you can take away from actually, meaningfully do that?
Wait, what do you, I'm sorry, can you, I'm not understanding the question.
If I do business with you guys, if I ask you come and look at my organization, and you talk to me about purpose, what is the biggest takeaway that I can and my people can take out of this?
I would say, man, there's so many takeaways. Yeah. So if someone were to do business with us and go through this program, the biggest thing I think is clarity and direction. And I'm not here to say that leaders don't have direction. They wake up every day, they're fueled with passion and they're doing stuff. But what we've seen and what we've done for leaders is give them exactly where they want to go. And we give them the tools to get there. Because they say, I want to be that person in 5 years, but I don't know how the hell to get there. Well, we come in and we put this purpose lens on. And it's like, once again, we see the light bulbs, and it's complete transformation. It's clarity, it's relief. And it's direction. And when a leader has clarity, relief, and direction, they are able to build a loyal tribe. They are able to build a culture where people do not want to leave. And they're able to remove themselves from the company and grow it beyond themselves. I know I've experienced the same thing. I'm like, how the hell am I going to grow my baby to be hundreds of employees? Because I'm so attached to it. But when I was able to infuse purpose and make it that objective truth, is something we like to say, it becomes the objective truth in an organization. It removes me from it. And it's because people are operating from the same truth instead of what they believe to be true about the organization.
Okay. That's the focus. That's the focus you're creating. Is that your purpose with sorry, repeat that again, please?
I was repeating the three main takeaways: clarity, relief, and direction.
Okay. Is that your purpose with Purpose Pioneers as well? Your organization? You want to grow this into hundreds of people?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm really focused on right now in the short term, but it could get to that point. I mean, we want to bring these trainings to as many companies as possible. We may have a lot of facilitators. We want to create a certified training program for people to become purpose coaches. Yeah. So it may not be hundreds of employees, but it may be hundreds of people that are
A
affiliated with our
network.
company. Exactly, yeah, a tribe or our community. So I see it could get to that point for sure.
All right, cool. Sounds really cool.
Thank you.
My yeah, like I said, you're a heck of a salesperson. I think no, but and not only that, but that what shines most through for me is your enthusiasm in terms of what you're doing, and I think that's contagious. And I think
Thank you.
a lot of people pick that up because enthusiasm is contagious.
Yeah.
That's what I think, at least. Alex, we've been in this conversation for 35 minutes. I'm looking at the clock here,
Wow.
and yeah, it's the time flies when
Time
you're
flies.
yeah, very much. When you're having a good time, and I am having a good time. Nonetheless, most of the recordings are about 30 minutes, so I want to
Okay.
segue into the two last closing questions. One with which I prepped you already. Can you give us, from your experience, business experience, personal experience, either way, 3 tips to become more culturally competent?
Yes. I was waiting for this incredible question
All
because
right.
I've actually
Give
been
us an
thinking a lot
incredible
about
answer
this.
then.
Yes. So, as everyone listening, I'm big on purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
I think a big piece of cultural competence is purpose. So the 3 keys that I found, which helped solve my pains and my challenges, was one,
Mm-hmm.
getting crystal clear on the values and the purpose of the company. And I know, often leaders do this, but really get clear on what those guiding principles are in the company, what they mean to you, and then be able to clearly articulate them to the team.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the biggest barrier is from the leader to the team. They don't get those incredible thoughts out onto paper and
Uh-huh.
into the team that can unite them. Values and purpose will unite a team. So that's
Okay.
number 1. Number 2, this one, I don't think you'll be expecting it, but repetition. So the biggest thing that I found, I talked about this stuff over and over and over again, and I still do every single day because this is what matters to me, and this is how I'm building successful companies. I have to put it through my filters over and over again. I have to talk about it with people like yourself from different perspectives so I can learn and grow. Because too often do the mission, vision, values, purpose, they get
Yeah,
created and they get swept under the rug.
that's it.
People don't
That's
talk, the leaders don't talk about it anymore, and it's a shame. That needs to be top of mind. That needs to be the number 1 tool in the tool belt. So that's number 2, repetition. And
uh-huh.
then 3 is the systemization of purpose. So every single business process that you have, align it with your purpose. Have that purpose, those purpose and values top of mind. Is it intentional with where you want to take this company? Or are you just doing this just because? This is just how things are done. So repurpose, that's a pun, repurpose your processes to reflect the deep-rooted why in those values, because you'll be in total alignment.
Mm-hmm.
And as you grow and scale, that you will be able to grow and scale your vision, purpose, and culture. It will never get lost.
Excellent. I'm going to frame these. Really good. Really good. Excellent. Last question, Alex, is if people are interested and want to know more about what you do and get contagious by your enthusiasm as well, infected by your enthusiasm, how can they reach you?
So head to our website. It's our brand new revamp of our website, purposepioneers.com.
Uh-huh.
And then also, I'm big on Facebook, so please add me personally, Alex Agresta. I do a lot of live videos, so that will be the best way to, get the energy, enthusiasm, and learn about purpose-driven topics. So those are the 2 best ways
to get in touch with you. That is your personal Facebook page?
Yeah, I use it for business, so
Okay.
I love people adding me on there, and like I said, I do all of my live videos off my personal right now. So
okay, excellent. All right, website purposepioneers.com and the Facebook page as well, Alexandria Agresta.
It's just Alex Agresta on Facebook.
Alex Agresta on Facebook. Okay,
Yep.
got that down. All right, that'll be in the show notes as well.
Perfect.
If you didn't get that while you're actually mowing the lawn or in the car and listening to this podcast, or watching this on the YouTube channel. Alex, it's been great talking to you. Thank you so much. It's going to be a wonderful dinner because I am stoked to start cooking dinner with all purpose because it's 6:30 almost p.m. So you got me there. Excellent. Thanks so much, and I'm pretty sure we'll talk to each other in the future.
Thanks for having me on. This was a great conversation. I am totally energized, and I'm excited to be around people like yourself.
Likewise. Okay, take care then.